Schoolite here. In this video, I'm going to be patching a couple holes in a fiberglass bathtub. One right here, and another one right there. Going to use some gel coat / fiberglass repair kit on it. Link is in the description. This is the one that I happen to buy and am going to use, and you'll see whether or not it works. So the other optional things, some cardboard to mix it on and some painter's tape. So I've already used a Dremel with a sanding drum to make sure that this is deep enough, like a 1/16 or deeper, and make sure that there was nothing sticking up. Same with this one. So you can use the sandpaper that came with it if you want, and just kind of do like so. Try to make sure everything is low below the surface here. So I actually used this a couple weeks ago, this kit, to patch a different hole. So the alcohol pad is dried out. Now I'm just using 70% isopropyl something alcohol. You know what I'm talking about. Same on both. So it says to use like half a jar. Don't. You're going to be sanding forever. Use enough to patch the hole or holes that you're going to need. Now this is what they provided, so that's what I'm using. If you got a better tool, use it. And I still have more left. So it looks like this will do several holes, no problem. Now you take the hardener, 4 to 6 drops of hardener. Now that is with a little more, so I'm going to go with just 4. I spread them around a little bit. The more hardener, the faster it'll harden on you, which means the less time you have to use it. Now you want to mix it. If you ever use Bondo, this is like Bondo. So try to mix it good so that you don't end up with a soft spot. Try to avoid bubbles in it. And don't forget to put the tape, which I did. So I recommend putting tape around it so that it helps with the mess and it helps give you an idea of when to stop sanding. I'll show you that. So with your mixture done, and you should have about 15 to 20 minutes, you want to take and push it into the hole. Just push it with the flat bit into the chip or the hole if it's a screw hole or something. And you want it to be above the surface because it's going to shrink a little. Trying to mold it. So hopefully no bubbles, air bubbles. Remove that. That sucked. It's better to have a little more than not enough. Just try not to have air bubbles. If the plastic works for you, great. Doesn't really matter what it looks like up here before we sand, so I'm not that worried about it. Like I say, just push it in to the hole or the chip. I got a little more than I need, so I'm going to take that off. Now I'm going to try to shape it a little bit so that it's high over the chip. Hopefully you can see it sticks out a little bit, but not too much. This stuff really stinks. I've got a fan. I'm going to turn the fan on. I'm going to turn the bathroom exhaust fan on. Try to get some of the smell out of here. Be warned, the fumes are pretty nasty. And now we got to let it sit for, it says 1 to 3 hours. It has to be dry before you start sanding it or you're going to have problems. You can let it sit for days if you want. It's not going to hurt it. So first you want to sand it with the 400 grit. If you're doing something, so like down here where it's angled, You could use something like this. Put your sandpaper like so, and then sand like that. Just be careful that you don't go through it too far. I will be using a block of wood. It's just a piece of 2x4 sandpaper over the edge like so. Now I've already mutilated my sandpaper. If you don't have a block of wood or something, take your sandpaper and fold it over a few times, then do it. It'll last a little longer. So with the 400 grit wet dry sandpaper, I dip it in the water a little bit. Now using the sanding block, I'm going to sand. I don't want to sand too far into the tape, and you'll see why. Try not to sand the area outside of the tape. So now with it folded over like so, do it just a little more. Concentrating on the area on the tape. So I have this down to the tape on the top, a little mostly on this right side, so it's, and even this, it's just the bottom. So I need to focus more on the bottom. And get a little bit in the middle. Just don't go too deep. So now you can see the tape. And it's just a slight bit higher in the middle. That's what we want. Now we're going to take the tape off. So now we're going to use the 600. Don't use a lot of pressure here. You're just trying to get the edges down where the tape was. Don't sand through the tub. You can feel it with your finger, and it should just barely be higher than the tub. If you do it too deep, you'll end up with little dark spots where you sanded through. It'll still hold water, but it won't be thick enough to look white. So now using some of the flips that came with it, so take this, it's way more than needed, and just lightly polish it. Now I got to do the same thing over here. So final result right there. Oops. You can hardly tell it, even with the photo lights. It's hard to see with regular lights, especially once it's been used a couple times. Get some dirt on it, you won't notice. And here is that one. So they turned out pretty good. Hope that was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, and good luck with yours.